Peace. Welcome to the YouTube live book reading of The African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality by Dr. Cheikh Anta Diop. And I'm your moderator and narrator, Uriel. Welcome. Peace, YouTube. Wow. So, we want to give special prayers and healing energy, sending all the angels out to protect the children and women and residents of Venezuela, as well as over in Asia and Japan, for all those enduring the ravage of these earthquakes. Thank you for praying with us for better for the people in Venezuela, over in Asia and Japan. So we start a new chapter. Yes. We're in a new chapter, y'all. Chapter 9. All right. It's called Peopling of Africa from the Nile Valley. Welcome. Live from the light here in LA. Yep. Some crystal love. Honor and respect. Highest heart love. We're in chapter 9. We're about to start. Here we go. I've been trying to make sure I maneuver so that I could get us some peace here. So thank you so much for being here in Highest Heart Love, the peaceful part of YouTube where we read books and learn from masters. And I'm Master Fitness Trainer Uriel Riley. Live from the light. Here we go. Page 179 is where we pick up at chapter 9. Peopling of Africa from the Nile Valley. The arguments advanced to defend the theory that Black Africa was settled from Oceania by way of the Indian Ocean are without foundation. No fact, archaeological or otherwise, authorizes us at present to seek the Negro's original habitat outside of Africa. West African legends report that Blacks migrated from the east, from the region of Great Water. Without any additional proof, Delafosse, perhaps as a working hypothesis, identified the Great Water with the Indian Ocean. Moreover, the cradle of humanity was then assumed to be in Asia because of the discovery of Pithecanthropus in Java and Sinanthropus in China, and because of the Bible, Adam and Eve. Opinion hardened around that identification for a long time. It was forgotten that this was merely a priori affirmation, and the hypothesis was accepted as a demonstrated theorem. From what we know about the archaeology of South Africa, where humanity seems to have been born, from what we know about the Nubian civilization, probably the oldest of all, from what we know about the prehistory of the Nile Valley, we can legitimately assume that the Great Water is none other than the Nile. No matter where we collect legends on the genesis of a Black African people, those who still remember their origins say they came from the East and that their forebears found pygmies in the country. Dogon, and Yoruba. Legends report that they came from the east, while those of the Fang, who as recently as the 19th century had not yet reached the Atlantic coast, indicate the northeast. Bakuba legends list the north as their province. For peoples living south of the Nile, traditions suggest that they came from the north. This is true of the Batista or Batutsi of the Rwanda, Urundi. When the first sailors to reach South Africa disembarked at the Cape several centuries ago, the Zulu, after a north south migration, had not yet reached the tip of the Cape. This hypothesis squares with the fact that the traditions of blacks in the Nile Valley mention only a local origin. Throughout antiquity, Nubians and Ethiopians never claimed any other unless it were one farther south. Peace, you two. Thank you so much. Highest heart love. We are reading from The African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality by Dr. Cheikh and Diop and edited and translated by Mercer Cook. We just started the ninth chapter. So welcome. Thank you for being here. And highest heart love. We're at page 180 for those in the playlist. I will also put a brief vocabulary of the section that we read in the description when it's finished uploading. So, divine rising and good evening. This summarizes the ancient legends as reported by Davizak or Davizak with an irony that does not diminish their importance. Others, erudite dreamers or indigenous physiologists, instead of seeking the early history of Africans in traditions now almost lost, have preferred to seek it in risky hypotheses and their conjectural narrations present the Negro as the oldest man created, son of the soil and of chance, born in the snowy mountain of the moon, Central Africa, which later cradled the man who went down to Sinar and engendered the Egyptian and the Arab and the people of Atlantis. The black race, long the most numerous, first overpowered and dominated the whites, but the latter, having gradually multiplied, shook off the yoke of their masters. The ex slave, becoming master in his turn, condemned the blacks to bear the chains that he had just broken. Centuries have passed, but his anger is not yet appeased. Middle of page 180. That legend compresses the history of humanity into a few lines. What is noteworthy here is the southern origin of the inhabitants of the Nile Valley, which Nubians and Egyptians have always asserted. What also stands out is the early arrival of the Negro on the road to civilization and the current reversal of the situation. He is the man who comes down to Sinar, which no doubt is the plain located between the White Nile and the Blue Nile, point of departure for the Meroitic Sudanese civilization. Sinar is also the name of the Mesopotamian plain, likewise between two rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates. Which of these appellations is correct and authentic? The second seems a replica of the first. Rectification of this error would again reverse the direction of history. It would then become natural for Egypt to be peopled from the plain of Sinar, and the legend would agree with history. Along with current legends of African peoples, almost all of which mention the Nile basin and the pygmies who inhabited the interior before the dispersion of the blacks. Let us cite two passages from Herodotus which confirm them. The first concerns two Nasamonians who left Syrtis or Cyrenaica, followed the Mediterranean coast westward, then headed toward the interior across the Sahara, and arrived on the banks of the river where only black pygmies lived. The young men therefore dispatched on his errand by their comrades with a plentiful supply of water and provisions, traveled at first through the inhabited region, passing which they came to the wild beast track, whence they finally entered upon the desert, which they proceeded to cross in a direction from east to west. After journeying for many days over a wide extent of sand, they came at last to a plain where they observed trees growing. Approaching them and seeing fruit on them, they proceeded to gather it. While they were thus engaged, there came upon them some dwarfish men under the middle height, who seized them and carried them off. The Nasamonians could not understand a word of their language, nor had they had any acquaintance with the language of the Nasamonians. They were led across extensive marshes and finally came to a town where all the men were of the height of their conductors and black complexioned. A great river flowed by the town, running from east to west and containing crocodiles. Wow. Powerful. Powerful. Middle of page 181. Peace, YouTube. Hey, awesome. Thank you so much for being here and reading with us. We're giving prayers at the beginning of this reading to all our friends and family and mates and the humans over in Venezuela as well as in Japan, suffering a great attack from an earthquake, and sending them love, prayers, and uplifting spirit. All right, so this reading is dedicated to them. Thank you so much for being here and witnessing it. Thank you for the likes and subs as well. We're pushing towards 700 subs on this peaceful part of YouTube where we read books. So highest heart, love, and honor. All right. Now we're at the page 181 in the middle. Hope you're enjoying this peaceful vibe. It would seem, therefore, that at a certain time the interior was inhabited exclusively by pygmies. The river in question might well have been the Niger, since we know now, contrary to what Herodotus believed, that beyond Ethiopia, the Nile does not bend around to flow from south to north after crossing Africa from the northwest to the southwest or southeast. The second passage refers to the voyage of Satispace or Satispus, son of the Tispes, ordered by Xerxes to be impaled. Satispus was conditionally pardoned thanks to an appeal by his mother, who happened to be the sister of Darius. He crossed the Strait of Gibraltar and sailed southward. Though he did not complete the trip, he was able to make the following observations on the Atlantic coast of Africa. He reported to Xerxes that at the furthest point to which he had reached, the coast was occupied by a dwarfish race who wore a dress made from a palm tree. These people, whenever he landed, left their towns and fled to the mountains. His men, however, did them no wrong, only entering their cities and taking some of their cattle. Page 217. In short, there is agreement between Negro legends now current and these facts reported by Herodotus 2,500 years ago. So the Pygmies were probably the first to occupy the interior of the continent, at least at a certain period. They settled there prior to the arrival of larger blacks. It can be assumed that the latter formed a kind of cluster around the Nile Valley. In the course of time, they spread out in all directions as a result of the population growth and the upheavals that occurred during the history of a people. This is neither a mere mental conception nor a simple working hypothesis. Our knowledge of African ethnography enables us to distinguish between a hypothesis and a confirmed historical fact. To be sure, a cultural foundation common to all African blacks, particularly a common linguistic base, seems to justify the idea in the main. But above all, there are the totemic clan names borne by all Africans, either collectively or individually, according to the extent of their dispersion. The analysis of these names, combined with proper linguistic examination, enables us to progress from the realm of probability to the level of certainty. And we'll pause right here. Continue back this wonderful reading. When we reconvene, wow, sending love and prayers to everyone in Venezuela and in Japan hit by the earthquakes. We got a lot of movement going on, and that solar activity from the sun is really exasperating this whole epidemic. So, want to send love and honor to all those that have lost someone in those earthquakes. We're always staying honorable as we read books in this peaceful part of YouTube when we reconvene with the African origin of civilization, myth, or reality by Dr. Cheikh and Diop, and translated and edited by Mercer Cook. So, fine days and nights. Wish all is well with you all and that you're staying strong. We want to continue to uplift the people. That's what's most important. It's uplifting the ones that can't do certain things themselves. This is what really makes us compassionate humans, right? Live from the light, light up the light. Thank you so much for the likes and subs. Oh man, we're pushing towards 700. Now, reading books in this peaceful part of YouTube. So we honor you and are grateful for all of you. Thank you for being here and reading books with us, part of the book lovers community. Let's have a glass of love water for giving honor to those devastated by the earthquakes. Also, some wonderful, wonderful World Cup soccer. Cote d'Ivoire, they won again. Oh man, we are really rooting for Ivory Coast, right? Hey, it looks so amazing. And what a win by Ecuador. Wow. Amazing match. And that was powerful to get that victory and to stay in. So love to all those athletes on this beautiful day. Wishing that you have some peace. And that's why I came on here with the peaceful part of YouTube, shining a light. Let's have a glass of love water for all those solar returns that are today and that we are celebrating and privy to be around with, as well as those that have elevated. We're pouring love water for you. We love you. Oh, I love you. I love you. I love you. They can't stop us. They cannot stop us. They can only encourage us. You know, they try to shut down this and that, this and that. And it's like, they can't really stop what we are doing. Because we're the light. Can't be stopped. Right? Thank you so much. I wish y'all have a wonderful day. Look at some of the mods in the building and new subs. Hi, is heart love. All right. So tonight we are going to the Rose Quartz Cloud. Rose Quartz Cloud for restoration. And we're going to be also painting in the Rose Quartz Cloud. It's going to be so beautiful. Live from the light. I'll see you there in the Rose Quartz Cloud, all right? Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful evening and day, right? Let's sing I love you to our friends and family and to all those in need of some uplifting vibes. Let's sing it all the way up, okay? All right, here we go. I love you. I love, 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 love you. You know it, 'cause I love myself. I love you. And I'll see you in the Rose Quartz Cloud, all right? Holding light. Love you so much. Peace, peace.